Hello everyone and welcome to Dueling with Downton, and thank you for joining me as we talk about episode 35 of the Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's anime series. An episode of awesomeness and action as Tiger makes her triumphant return, joining the fray in helping the newspaper club protect Yuga's workshop as being threatened by the Machine Cavalry Club members of being dismantled. Now, more specifically, is one specific member of the Machine Cavalry Club that is actually targeting Yuga's workshop. He goes by the name of Caterpillar. This guy acts on his own to get rid of the workshop because he believes that it will please the Great One. It will give her something less to worry about. So this is why the character is doing it. That is his motivation. It's all for Asana. Now, this character is possibly a one-off character, but in all honesty, if that's the case, then good, because I don't really want to see him again too much. But with that being said, he did have his positives about him. He mentioned the fact that there is a material substance called gohinium, which should play a part in future builds within the series. Now, when I first heard of this substance, I instantly thought of Yuga's giant mecha that we've seen in his dreams and in that opening sequence, because when you look at it, it has to be made out of something sturdy, something strong. And if it's made out of the same material the Tiger's instrument is made out of, which is said to be very sturdy, and we saw literally like destroying the machine that Caterpillar arrived in, then yeah, that'll be ridiculous. So I do believe that we are going to see more devices throughout Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's created using gohinium, otherwise what is the point in mentioning it? And going back to the machine that Caterpillar arrived in, I really like the uniqueness of this machine. It reminded me of the tracks that we see on a massive digger, which, awesome, nevertheless. But the fact that we saw inside of it and it stuck to the character's theme of sort of like rodents and beasts, I thought was rather unique and cool. Because we see two of the Cavalry Club members, poor members by the way, they have to run in circles or just run on the spot like hamsters on a hamster wheel. This was delightful to see. Again, it stuck with the theme of the character and it added a good comedic moment for me personally. So yeah, I mean, what more can I say about it? Now, once we got to look at his playstyle, I knew instantly that Sword and Shield was going to play a part in it because this would be perfect for his current deck, as switching the monster's defense with their attack mode would obviously help because the deck is centered around having high defense power and forcing your opponents to attack while you're in defense mode. So you have your monsters in attack mode first to lure your opponents in, and then you use the card Rat Trap to switch your cards into defense mode, forcing your opponent to attack a specific monster, and then of course dealing them damage without your monster being destroyed because supposedly you're higher defense than their attack points because you're working intertwined with your field spell, which gives you more defense points but also takes away 200 attack points from your opponent's monsters. This I thought was really good. I like the uniqueness of this and I thought it's something I could see myself using, which what made me enjoy the playstyle a lot more. And yeah, although some of the cards in it would be predictable, at the same time, I can see it working with a few other kind of decks and methods. I'll have to explore it a little bit more to find out personally for myself. But at the same time, thumbs up on it. So now let's talk about Tiger. She was lively, fiery, explosive, but above all else, she was a highlight for this episode. The episode itself helps reaffirm that Studio Bridge know what they're doing when it comes to their female characters, as the females within Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's continue to improve after each and every episode. This I'm all for. It's so refreshing to see Yu-Gi-Oh! Female characters improve and just come out to be badasses throughout the Yu-Gi-Oh! Franchise. Is something that I've wanted to see for a long time, so the fact that we're getting that and this episode helps to reaffirm that, all thumbs up in that department. As we got to see a lot of fiery passion from Tiger, as well as her resolve to protect the peace and Yuga's workshop from the Machine Cavalry Club. The line that she says at the end of the episode, where she states that wasn't their true power, and she ponders when Yuga and Rook will return. This tells me, as a audience member, that she herself is not someone who can take on, say, someone of an Asana or Shorba or Garlean type of character. If any of those three were to have arrived in this episode to take down the workshop, then that workshop would have been demolished. She is a strong, capable duelist. We know that as an audience, and she knows that herself, but she is not overconfident, nor is she living in a dreamland where she knows that she can take down one of their top members. So this I do like, because it shows a bit of realisticness from her character, and it shows that she does have a good sort of head on the noggin, because she's able to clearly think. But it does also, again, it doesn't hinder a character, so to speak, to be relying on Yuga and Rook. It just shows how much trust and how much faith she has in their abilities. Her new ace monster that we get to see in this episode, well, it's new to us as the audience, but apparently she's used it before within the series. Not to our knowledge, because we've not seen it, but the character of Catapilio states that she's finally revealed her ace, meaning that he's seen it again. Well, that's what the dialogue insinuates when looking at it from that perspective. Now, as ace monsters go, this one looks like an ace monster for Tiger's character, as there's a lot of resemblances from her character to that ace monster. We see her burning spirit within the monster, as it has like flame-like essences emanating from the monster itself. The fact that his ability gains power for each of your opponent's defense mode monsters can be seen as another variation of Tiger's personality, because Tiger's personality is all about pushing herself and overcoming obstacles, breaking down the walls that are in front of her. And if you look at a defense mode monster from your opponent's point of view, that is their wall shielding them. So if she gains power from her opponent's walls, aka their defense mode monsters, to break through those walls and destroy the problems in front of her, then you know what, you can see the similarities kind of. Or am I overthinking that? Oh well. Another resemblance that we see between monster and user is of course the instrument, the musical instrument that Tiger uses is very prevalent and very featured on this monster's design, because we see it floating all the way around in like the circular motion. This I thought was awesome. I just love the design of this card, and I like the fact that it does feel like a proper ace monster for a character. It feels like the Dark Magician does to Yugi, or Deco Talker does to Yusaku. They just feel like they belong together, and that's the vibe I got from this. So for me, that was awesome. So yeah, for me personally, Tiger was the MVP of this episode, and they added the creativeness and the character and the dialogue, which helped keep me entertained. So for that, I really do appreciate what they did with the episode itself, turning it from a kind of in-between episode to a, yes, this is exciting, give me more. That being said, this episode was not all action-based, as we follow Team Yuga into the mines and they get lost thanks to Rook's not so smart moment. Yuga has this brilliant idea of dropping bolts on the ground so they can track where they've already been before. This is very smart, and we know that Yuga is very smart as well, but Rook is a bit dumb. He finds these, picks them up, and tries to make a toy that doesn't even work out of them, thus making our heroes lose their sense of place, and they're now lost within the mines. It goes from bad to worse because Roman sees some water after being very dehydrated, runs towards it, and almost kills herself because that water could be poisonous due to water in the mines carrying toxins. They get saved, luckily, by Hunt. Don't know why it took me a while to get that name back in my mind. And Kaizo, so that was all good. Now we get an emotional part of the episode as well, with Kaizo flying past Sebastian's broken, crumpled body. And this added a little bit of confusion to me personally, because I couldn't decide whether or not Kaizo actually recognized it was Sebastian and is just playing it super cool, or if he noticed it was something similar but couldn't quite realize what it was because it was so broken and beaten up. If you have an idea, then let me know in the comments down below. But yes, records show that there are a large number of dueling prototype dual discs, laying underground on the outskirts of Goha mines. And my mind instantly thought of the lost Mutsuba dueling device that was mentioned to us in previous episodes. Because here's the reason. We know that that device is lost ages ago, a long time ago. And the records that Neil has found information pertaining to these prototype dual discs is mentioned to be old records, or from the old records. Okay? So why old records? Why not just records? Well, that key word in old must signify something that is pre-Asana's grandfather. Because if they're using a word old and it only means like 10 years ago, that doesn't really make much sense. If they're using that word specifically, then it has to be from a really long time period. And of course, if you're going with the idea of it being the lost Mutsuba dueling device, Yuga finds that, and that gives a bit more kind of closure and clarity and a bit more leeway with his character when confronting Asana at the final hurdle. But I mean, that's just my thoughts on it. If you think they are actually prototype dual discs, or we're going to see something from the original series like we did in that museum episode, then of course drop your ideas in the comment section down below. But yeah, I do think that our heroes are on the right track, as we now have opened up a passageway which should edge us closer and closer to the secrets being revealed that we're searching for. But overall, I thought this was a great episode with a lot of exciting things occurring. Yes, it was a bit confusing at times, and I was left wondering, like, what on earth is this series all about now? Like, this series is just crazy. But at the same time, I'm having a fun, enjoyable time watching it, so that's all that actually matters. And if you're enjoying yourself too, then that's brilliant as well, honestly. But yeah, going along with the confusion again, the preview for next week's episode looks wild, looks wacky. It looks like Runs is going to be love struck for Garlean and Yuga. Okay, and she might be dueling. Fine. Is she going to be like mind controlled by Shoba? Because we see him in the preview like waving some like looks like aeroplane lights about. But yeah, honestly, I'm excited. I'm curious to see what's going to happen. But with her fantasizing over Garlean is giving off dad vibes in this episode. Like, he feels like the father figure of the Machine Cavalry Club. Just saying, dad vibes from Garlean, always. But yeah, honestly, that's all I've got to say. And I want to hear your thoughts on this episode down in the comment section below. Let me know what you thought. Let me know your opinion on any of the points that I've raised or anything that I've missed. Then, of course, I appreciate all the information that you give me on these videos. But with all that being said, hit that like button if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you're new for more content on a week-to-week basis. But above all else, have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Arigato, matane, goodbye.